Johnny Carson was halfway through his monologue on February 14, 1978, when Muhammad Ali noticed something the cameras missed, something the audience didn't see, something even Carson himself didn't recognize. But Ali saw it, because Ali had spent his entire life studying bodies, reading movements, detecting weakness, finding the split-second tells that separated winning from losing, living from dying. And what Ali saw in Johnny Carson that night made his blood run cold. The show had started normally enough, Carson doing his usual routine. Jokes about Valentine's Day, jokes about politicians, jokes about Hollywood. The audience was laughing. Everything seemed fine. But Ali, sitting backstage waiting for his segment, watched Carson on the monitor and saw something wrong. The way Carson gripped his pen, too tight, knuckles white. The way he kept touching his left arm, subtle, quick, like he was trying to make it look casual but couldn't stop. The way his breathing had changed, shorter, shallower. Ali had seen these signs before. In the ring, fighters trying to hide injury, trying to push through pain, trying to pretend everything was fine when their body was screaming that it wasn't. And Ali had seen these exact signs 6 months earlier in someone else, his trainer, Angelo Dundee. The night before, Angelo's heart attack. The night Ali had ignored what his instincts were telling him because he didn't want to believe it. The night he'd almost lost one of the most important people in his life because he'd looked away instead of acting. Ali wasn't looking away this time. "Something's wrong with Johnny," Ali said to the stage manager standing nearby. The stage manager glanced at the monitor. "He looks fine to me." "No," Ali said. "Look at his left hand. Look at how he's breathing. Something's wrong." The stage manager looked closer. "I don't see anything." "Trust me," Ali said. "I've seen this before. He needs to stop. He needs a doctor right now." The stage manager hesitated. This was Muhammad Ali, the greatest boxer who ever lived. But this was also The Tonight Show. You didn't just stop The Tonight Show because a guest had a feeling. "I'll mention it to the producer," the stage manager said. "Don't mention it," Ali said. His voice was firm now, urgent. "Get a doctor, now, before it's too late." Something in Ali's tone made the stage manager move. He picked up a phone and started making calls. On stage, Carson finished his monologue. The audience applauded. He went to commercial and walked off stage during the break. And the second Carson was off camera, his legs buckled. He grabbed onto a light stand to keep from falling. Ali was already moving, had seen it coming. Was there before Carson hit the ground, caught him, lowered him carefully to the floor. "Johnny," Ali said. His voice was calm, steady, the voice of someone who'd been in crisis 1,000 times and never panicked. "Can you hear me?" Carson's eyes were unfocused, his breathing rapid and shallow. His left arm hung useless at his side. "My chest," Carson gasped. "Can't breathe. Something's wrong." "I know," Ali said. "I saw it. You're going to be okay. Just stay with me." Ali looked up at the crew gathering around them. "Get a doctor. Call 911, and somebody get me aspirin, now." A production assistant ran, came back 30 seconds later with aspirin and water. Ali helped Carson take it, held the water to his lips. "This is going to help," Ali said. "Keep you stable until the paramedics get here. You're having a heart attack, Johnny, but you're going to be fine because we caught it early, because you're strong, because you're a fighter." Carson's eyes focused on Ali. "Heart attack?" "Yeah," Ali said, "but a small one. We got lucky. I saw the signs, been watching you all night, knew something was off. If you're watching this and you already know where this is going, hit that like button right now. Because what happens next shows why Muhammad Ali was more than just a fighter. He was someone who saw people, really saw them. And if you love stories about The Tonight Show and the real moments that happen behind the scenes, subscribe to this channel. We bring you the truth. The paramedics arrived 4 minutes later, got Carson on a stretcher, started an IV, gave him oxygen, checked his vitals. "Acute myocardial infarction," one paramedic said. "We need to move, now." They rushed Carson toward the ambulance. Ali followed. "I'm coming with him," Ali said. "Are you family?" the paramedic asked. "I'm the reason he's still alive," Ali said. "So yeah, I'm coming." The paramedic didn't argue. They got Carson into the ambulance. Ali climbed in beside him and held his hand the whole way to Cedars-Sinai Medical Center. "Why were you watching me?" Carson asked. His voice was weak but there. "Why did you know something was wrong?" Ali smiled. "Because I'm Muhammad Ali. I see everything." But there was something else in his expression, something heavier. "And because 6 months ago I didn't see it, didn't see my trainer Angelo having the same signs, didn't act fast enough, he survived but barely, and I swore I'd never miss it again, never ignore what my body was telling me, never look away when someone needed help." Carson squeezed Ali's hand. "Thank you. Don't thank me yet, Allie said. Thank me when you're out of that hospital and back behind your desk making jokes about your ex-wives. They got Carson into the emergency room. Doctors swarmed. Allie stayed in the waiting room, refused to leave, called Carson's family, called NBC executives, told them what happened, told them Carson was alive because Allie had been paying attention. 3 hours later, a doctor came out. Mr. Allie? Allie stood. How is he? Stable, the doctor said. You saved his life. If he'd continued the show, if he'd gone home without treatment, he would have died tonight. The blockage was severe. We're prepping him for surgery now, emergency bypass, but he's going to make it. Allie sat back down and put his head in his hands. Thank God. How did you know? The doctor asked. How did you see what everyone else missed? Allie looked up. I'm a fighter. I've spent my whole life reading bodies, learning to see the invisible, the tiny movements that tell you everything, the way someone shifts their weight, the way they breathe, the way they hold tension. He paused. Boxing isn't just about hitting, it's about seeing. And I saw Johnny dying, saw his body failing, saw the signs everyone else was too busy to notice. The doctor nodded. Well, your training saved a life tonight. He owes you everything. He doesn't owe me anything, Allie said. We're all responsible for each other. That's what being human means. Seeing when someone's in trouble, acting when everyone else is standing still, refusing to look away. The surgery took 6 hours. Allie stayed the entire time, paced the waiting room, prayed, thought about all the times in his life he'd seen something wrong and acted, and all the times he'd seen something wrong and hadn't. When the surgery was over, when the doctor said Carson was going to be okay, Ali finally allowed himself to breathe. Carson woke up 12 hours later, groggy, confused, in pain, but alive. Ali was sitting in a chair next to his bed. You're still here? Carson asked. His voice was hoarse from the breathing tube. Where else would I be? Allie said. You scared the hell out of me, man. Don't do that again. Carson tried to laugh, winced. I'll try. They sat in silence for a moment. The doctor told me what you did, Carson said. How you saw it, how you acted, how you saved my life. I just paid attention, Allie said. That's all. Just didn't look away. Why? Carson asked. Why were you paying such close attention? You barely know me. We've done a few interviews over the years, but we're not friends. Why did you care enough to notice? Allie was quiet for a long time. Can I tell you something I've never told anyone publicly? Carson nodded. When I was young, Allie began, before I was Muhammad Ali, when I was still Cassius Clay, I had a friend, grew up with him in Louisville. His name was Ronnie. We did everything together, dreamed together, planned our futures together. Ali's voice got quieter. One day when we were 16, we were hanging out, just talking. And I noticed Ronnie was acting strange, kept rubbing his head, kept saying he had a headache, kept squinting like the light hurt his eyes. He paused, and I knew something was wrong, could feel it in my gut, but I didn't say anything, didn't push, didn't make him go to a doctor, because we were 16 and invincible, and I didn't want to be the guy who overreacted, didn't want to seem scared. Allie wiped his eyes. Ronnie had a brain aneurysm that night, died in his sleep, 16 years old, gone. And I knew. I had known something was wrong, and I did nothing. I looked away, I stayed quiet, and he died. Carson's expression changed. Allie, that wasn't your fault. Maybe not, Allie said, but it taught me something. Taught me that when you see something wrong, you act. You don't wait, you don't second guess, you don't worry about looking stupid or overreacting. You act. Because the cost of being wrong is embarrassment. The cost of being right and doing nothing is death. He looked at Carson. So when I saw you on that stage tonight, saw the signs, saw your body failing, I acted. Because I'm not losing another person I could have saved, not ever again. Carson was crying now. You barely know me. Doesn't matter, Allie said. You're a human being. That's enough. That's all that matters. We're all connected, all responsible for each other. I don't need to know your whole life story to know that your life matters, to know that saving you was the right thing to do. They sat together for hours, talking, really talking, about life and death and fear and courage and what it means to truly see another person. And something shifted between them. A friendship formed, not the surface-level celebrity friendship, something deeper. Something real. If this story is touching you, drop a comment and tell me where you're watching from, and subscribe if you haven't already. Because what happened after this night is even more powerful. Carson was in the hospital for 2 weeks. Allie visited every day, brought him books, brought him healthy food because hospital food was terrible, brought him conversation and company and distraction from the fear. And during those visits, Ali started teaching Carson. "You can't go back to living the way you were," Ali said one afternoon. "The stress, the pace, the way you treat your body, that's what caused this. And if you don't change, it's going to happen again. And next time, I might not be there to catch you." Carson nodded. "I know. The doctor said the same thing. Said I need to slow down, eat better, exercise, reduce stress." "They're right," Ali said, "but it's more than that. It's about listening to your body. Really listening. Your body was telling you something was wrong for weeks probably, months maybe. But you ignored it, pushed through, told yourself you were fine. That's what almost killed you." Carson looked down. "I thought I was invincible. Thought I could just keep going forever, never stop, never slow down." "Nobody's invincible," Ali said. "Not even me. I've had people knock me down. I've lost fights. I've been hurt. The difference is I learned to listen, learned to know when my body was telling me to stop, when it was telling me something was wrong." He leaned forward. "I'm going to teach you that. Going to teach you to listen to your body the way I do, to read the signs, to know when something's off before it becomes a crisis." And that's exactly what Ali did. For the next year, Ali became Carson's teacher. Not officially, not publicly, just two friends working together. Ali taught Carson about breathing, real breathing, the kind that calms the nervous system and lowers blood pressure and tells your body it's safe. Taught him meditation, how to sit with silence, how to find peace in stillness instead of constantly performing. Taught him about nutrition, not diets, real nutrition, how to fuel a body instead of just feeding it. Taught him about movement, gentle exercise, walking, swimming, staying active without destroying yourself. And most importantly, Ali taught Carson about awareness, about paying attention to what your body is telling you, about knowing the difference between normal fatigue and dangerous exhaustion, about recognizing warning signs before they become emergencies. Carson changed, slowly but genuinely. Started taking better care of himself, started slowing down, started saying no to things that cost too much energy, started being present instead of just performing. And everyone noticed, his staff noticed, his family noticed, his audience noticed. "You seem different," Ed McMahon said to Carson one day. "More relaxed, less stressed. What changed?" "I almost died," Carson said simply. "And Muhammad Ali taught me how to live, really live, not just survive." The friendship between Carson and Ali became one of the most important relationships in both their lives. They talked regularly, met for lunch, supported each other through hard times. When Ali's Parkinson's diagnosis came in 1984, Carson was there, helping, supporting, being the friend Ali had been to him. "How are you handling it?" Carson asked. They were sitting in Ali's house in Los Angeles, Ali moving slower now, shaking more, but still Ali, still strong, still present. "I'm scared," Ali admitted, "scared of losing myself, losing my body, becoming someone I don't recognize." "I know that fear," Carson said. "The night I had the heart attack, I was terrified, terrified of dying, of leaving things unsaid, of not mattering." He looked at Ali. "But you taught me something. You taught me that how we live matters more than how long we live. That being present matters more than being perfect. That seeing people matters more than being seen." Ali smiled. "You were a good student." "I had a good teacher," Carson said. They sat together, two legends, two friends, two people who'd saved each other in different ways. Johnny Carson retired from The Tonight Show in 1992. His final episode aired on May 22nd, and in the audience that night, in a seat Carson had personally reserved, sat Muhammad Ali. When the show ended, when Carson gave his final monologue, he did something unexpected. He looked directly at Ali. "There's someone in the audience tonight who saved my life," Carson said. "February 14th, 1978, Valentine's Day. Muhammad Ali saw something wrong with me that nobody else saw, acted when everyone else stood still, got me help before it was too late, and he's been teaching me how to really live ever since." The camera found Ali. The audience stood, applauded. Ali waved, that familiar Ali wave. Still charismatic, still powerful, still present. "Ali taught me that seeing people is more important than anything else," Carson continued, "that paying attention can save lives, that we're all responsible for each other, that looking away is the greatest crime we can commit." Carson's voice was thick. "So, Ali, thank you. For seeing me, for acting, for teaching me, for being my friend. I wouldn't be standing here without you. None of these 30 years would have happened without you. You saved my life, and then you taught me how to use it. That's a gift I can never repay." The audience was crying. Ali was crying, Carson was crying. After the show, they met backstage. Hugged, long hug, brothers, friends, family. "I'm going to miss this," Carson said. "The show, the routine, the purpose." "You don't need the show to have purpose," Ali said. His speech was slower now, the Parkinson's affecting his words, but his message was clear. "You have purpose because you're alive, because you see people, because you care. That's enough. That's everything." Carson nodded. "What are you going to do now?" "Live," Ali said simply. "Spend time with my family, help people where I can, keep teaching what I know, keep seeing what others miss, keep acting when action is needed." He smiled. "And keep checking on you, making sure you're still listening to your body, still taking care of yourself, still being present." "I will," Carson promised. "You taught me too well to forget." They stayed friends until Ali died in 2016, talked regularly even when talking became hard for Ali, supported each other through illness and loss in the slow march of time. When Ali died, Carson was already gone, had died in 2005. But Carson's widow told reporters that Carson had talked about Ali until the very end, had called him the most important friend he'd ever had, had credited him with saving his life twice. Once on February 14, 1978, and once every day after by teaching him how to really live. The story of that night became legend. Muhammad Ali seeing what nobody else saw, acting when everyone else froze, saving Johnny Carson's life with nothing but observation and courage and the refusal to look away. Medical professionals studied it, used it as a teaching example, showed how paying attention to subtle signs can mean the difference between life and death. Boxing coaches used it too, showed young fighters that the skills they learned in the ring could save lives outside of it. That reading bodies wasn't just about winning fights, it was about protecting people. But the real lesson was simpler. We're all capable of seeing each other, of noticing when something's wrong, of acting instead of freezing, of caring enough to pay attention. Ali did it because of Ronnie, because he'd failed to act once and spent his life making sure he never failed again. And because of Ali, Carson lived, had another 14 years of career, another 27 years of life, had time with his family. Time to make amends, time to matter, all because one man paid attention, one man saw what others missed, one man refused to look away. If you made it to the end of this story, thank you for watching. Hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. We bring you stories like this every week, real stories, true moments, the times when celebrities stopped being celebrities and started being human. And drop a comment. Tell me what you think. Tell me if you've ever noticed something wrong and acted. Tell me where you're watching from. Because these stories matter. These moments matter. And your engagement helps us keep telling them. Muhammad Ali didn't just save Johnny Carson's life on February 14, 1978. He taught Carson how to live it, taught him to pay attention, to listen to his body, to be present, to see other people, to act when action was needed. And Carson spent the rest of his life trying to pass that lesson forward, trying to see people the way Ali had seen him, trying to act when others froze, trying to be present instead of just performing. That's Ali's real legacy. Not the boxing, not the championships, not the fame, the lives he saved, the people he taught, the moments when he saw what nobody else saw and refused to stay silent. We need more people like that. More people who pay attention, more people who act, more people who refuse to look away when someone needs help. We need to be like Ali was that night, watching, seeing, acting, saving each other one moment of awareness at a time. That's the lesson. That's what matters. That's what Muhammad Ali taught Johnny Carson, and that's what Carson tried to teach all of us. See people, really see them, and when you see something wrong, act. Don't wait, don't hesitate, don't worry about being wrong, just act. Because the cost of being wrong is embarrassment. The cost of being right and doing nothing is a life. Ali knew that. Carson learned it. Now we all need to remember it.